the chain release in early November 2025 is making a change to the way you can stake on Root. If you don't want to make any changes to the way you stake, you don't have to do anything. Let's learn about the new terms, root claim and alpha claim. And in this video, we're going to walk through what the difference between root claim and alpha claim and why you care and what you can do about it. So let's start at the beginning. We've got Bittensor and Tau. And when you stake on Root, you get a yield. But how is that yield calculated? Let's understand that, and then we can show you how root claim and alpha claim slightly change this. So we have subnets. We actually have a lot of subnets, but let's just simplify it down for one to break it down. And inside each subnet, one alpha is emitted every single block. And that alpha is distributed to the subnet owners, to the miners, and to the validators and stakeholders. So as a stakeholder, you get a chunk of this 41% of that one alpha. Now, how much of that goes to Root? When you stake to Root, you get a proportion of those returns, and that's defined by, you may have seen this chart, where Root proportion starts off at 100% at the beginning of the subnet, and alpha proportion kicks up over time. Let's just assume, for the sake of this video, that all subnets have a 25% root proportion. That means about 11% of the stake is going to go back to the root stakeholders. So what happens is, today, every single block, that 11% is determined. It is sold to Tau and then distributed amongst all the validators and stakeholders who are on Root. And that's a very small amount for the average stakeholder, but the reason you get decent returns on Root is that this is happening on all 128 subnets. So if your validator is active on a lot of subnets, that little bit of alpha dust is accumulating on all of those subnets and being sold back to Root, and that's what you're collecting. So that's what root claim is. That is your default. That's what happens today. And moving forward, that's the default way that staking on Root will occur. Your rewards are sold as Tau, and they auto-compound on your hotkey that you have staked to on Root. Now, when DTAU launched until this release, root claim happened every 360 blocks, about every 72 minutes. Now it is going to happen about every 2 days, and it's going to be a random distribution. So it's going to happen to you randomly about every 2 days. It might be more often, it might be less often, but the math is set up so it happens about every 2 days. So what's alpha claim? Again, let's say we have that 25% root proportion, but what's happening is we're not going to sell that into Root. So now we have, instead of selling a little bit of alpha from all of the subnets to Root, we're going to collect that small bit of alpha on every single subnet. So your Root stake is never going to increase, and you're going to get small amounts of alpha dust accumulating on all the subnets that your validator is active on. Again, that claim is going to be about every 2 days. So the difference between root claim and alpha claim is that Root is your default. That's what's happening at the launch of DTAU, what everybody's familiar with. And if you do nothing, you're still going to claim on Root. If you want to start accumulating on alpha, you can opt in, you can turn on alpha claim. You will get a small amount of alpha dust every 2 days on the subnet when it's rewarded. The big change here is if you stay on Root and you expect to see your Root change every 72 minutes or so, it's not going to do that anymore. It's going to be static, and then you'll see larger jumps about every 2 days. So alpha claim is kind of exciting. If you're interested in getting into investing in alpha in subnets, this is a way to, low stake to take your Root Tau rewards. So it's not a huge amount, but you can then invest it in alpha and start collecting your alpha tokens. Stay tuned to the TauStats YouTube channel just so you can get the latest updates whenever there's a change on the Bittensor network. Thanks for watching.